All right, welcome back to dive number 2 in the Azores. This was on a wreck called the Dori wreck. It was a World War II era wreck. The boat was not a battleship or anything. I think it was just built around that time. It was more like a cargo ship. And I think it sunk in 1964, I believe. I don't believe it was an intentional wreck. It's very close to the shore, so I can't imagine they intentionally sunk it there. And I did ask Laura that. I think she said no. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if she understood the question I asked because I didn't quite understand her answers. Anyway, it was a fabulous looking boat, fabulous wreck diving. It's pretty broken up, as you're going to see. Not a whole lot of wreck penetration opportunities, which they warned us against doing anyway. We didn't do any of that. There was maybe one kind of swim through, but not really sure what all the ascent warnings were at the end. Apparently I was going up way too fast, but knock on wood, no DCS for this guy ever. Let's keep that trend going. All right, let's get into it. Ah, yes, not quite. Yeah, I was hanging out in the water with my camera kind of on my head at this point instead of pulling it out during the descent. And Laura said, "Do you want to take a picture?" I said, "All right." Popped it over to picture mode, and there's some Llano sauce. And he's coming at you. So you can see the boat behind us. Yeah, you might see some better video of that later on. But yeah, this was my second Portuguese European dive experience, and 2 for 2 on the rigid hull inflatable boats. That's what they use. Only way in the water is back roll. Only way out is a rickety ladder. Not my favorite, but it is what it is. So anyway. Alright. Finally got my camera situated on the surface. And down we go. You can see, maybe you can't see. Well, you kind of see how close to the shore we are. So yeah, I don't think they would have intentionally sunk this boat that close to the surface. They have this buoy marking it. And as you can see, very clear water, still no wreck. It kind of popped out on us when we got to the bottom. So I don't think this buoy is... It's not like marking smack dab in the middle of the wreck. I kind of thought like it was off to the side, so, but you'll see it eventually. I don't know. I thought the visibility was like 100 plus feet. Maybe it wasn't quite that good. But even the dive shop people were remarking at how clear the water was. Actually, to be fair, they said that on my second set of dives, which was about a week after this, so maybe it got clearer in a week. I don't know. I will say this for the European tanks. I like them a lot better than the American tanks. They're short, stubbier, bigger diameter. Yeah, I got somebody fell on top of me there. And most of them have those handles on them. They got the handles. I don't know if you can quite see it. It makes it so much easier to carry. I hate carrying around the American tanks by the valves. It's just not comfortable. And if we get a good look at the tank, you'll see the handle. So much easier to carry. And the European interface to the regulator is usually DIN, D-I-N, which my regulator is a native DIN, and I think that's way better connection than... I don't know why American divers are like, let's just take all the good stuff about European diving and change it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason. Where did diving even originate? Jacques Cousteau. He was French, wasn't he? So I don't even think it was America. So I don't know. I think I'm Team European when it comes to the diving equipment. So yeah, I can't see the boat at this point anyway. I don't think the camera can see the boat at this point. You can see where that chain was anchored to. There's our bottom of our boat. Yeah, we're getting pretty far down there. So one thing One thing that they changed about this dive was they sent more instructors with us. So, girl in the pink fins is an instructor. I don't know if I ever caught her name. Laura, that's her. She's my tried and true dive instructor on all these dives. And I think there was one more they sent. And the whole point was when people started running low on air, they'd send them back to the boat with, you know, different instructors. So people that last longer with their air could stay down longer, which was nice. Believe it or not, I made it to the end group. Kind of proud of that, to be honest with you. But at least they weren't ending the dive for everybody. I've been on dives. I was in Hawaii. I feel like I'm pretty good with my air consumption now, but I'm still kind of a bigger guy, and I'm a guy, so it's... Girls just manufacture air underwater. It's crazy. I think they go down with 3,000 and come up with 3,500. I don't know how. But, yeah, I was in Hawaii. There's some barracuda. See? Saw the barracuda. They did tell us to look in the blue water for this dive especially, because that's where you're going to see fish like that. And apparently, like, whale sharks even come around here. I think that might be for the offshore dive. Sadly, I did not see any whale sharks or any sharks. But, yeah, well, here's the wreck. Kind of popped up on us. It's a big boat. There's some Llano sauce coming at you. Oh, I never finished my thought on the offshore dive. So, yeah, the whole point of the offshore dive was it's, like I said, I think there's small island groupings that kind of attract fish. Like a 2.5 hour boat ride south of this island, San Miguel. It's an all-day dive trip. Here's some more barracuda. And they only take you if they know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing, and the conditions are good. So I've heard this offshore dive, it's like, you go on the PADI website, they talk about it, you know, one of the best dives in the world kind of thing. And so I asked them about this, and they were like, yeah, we want to see you dive before we even take you out there. I was like, oh, okay. They'd say the current can get strong. I guess they just want to make sure you know what you're doing. I will say my first dive, I probably didn't show them much. This one was a lot better. But I got put on a list, a waiting list, to go on that dive. Oh, and the third stipulation, they have to have enough people to go. So, you know, it's a very long trip. Burn up a lot of gas. The cost of it was, I think, at least double what this was. Probably more, just, you know, in boat gas. But sadly, that call never came, so I did not get to go on the offshore dive. I think your best chance of seeing whale sharks is on that dive. It's kind of open ocean. There's a lot of schools of fish. There's a word for open ocean fish. It starts with a P, pelagic or something. But apparently you see a lot of those types of fish out there in huge schools. But just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Maybe next time, maybe next time. But yeah, I love this wreck. I dove on this wreck twice. And man, you can just see all the fish there. Look at all those fish. Fish love these artificial reefs. And yeah, I loved it. We took, I think we went on this part of the boat twice. Well, there's a bunch of barracuda. Yeah, I saw more barracuda here than I've ever seen. And boy, I don't remember getting that close to them. The other place I saw a lot was Miami. And I came up on a real big one in Miami by accident. I kind of turned a corner, and there's a big one sitting there. And it was kind of far away, but current kind of started pushing me closer towards it. I was getting closer. He was not moving. This thing was probably 3.5, 4 feet. It was a big one. And he was not moving. He knew how big he was. And that's one of very few times I've felt a little scared underwater, at least with the wildlife. But he didn't touch me. He didn't touch me. So thank goodness for that. But But in terms of quantity and schools, I saw more barracuda here than I've ever seen. And the second dive especially, you're going to see it. There was like 20 of them, maybe more than that. But man, I can't get over how many fish were just swarming this wreck. Look at them all. It's just it's like diving in an aquarium. And I think we're doing about to do a swim through, or no, she might have been trying to show us something. Yeah, I was just that colorful fish that just went out of. There's a parrotfish down there. Yeah, if I get better looks at them, I'll try to point them out. But there was two fish, like I said here, that I've never seen anywhere else, at least that I don't remember. One was that colorful fish. Does that pointed out to you? That narrow it down for you? Yeah, she spent a long time looking in this tube. I don't know what was in there. I tried to swing by after the group left, and I didn't see anything in there. I did not get a great look though, because we were kind of moving on, and current was pushing me. Yeah, this was as close as we did to wreck penetration on this dive, this kind of swim under thing. Which, yeah, those slots in the top are not wide enough to fit through, so close enough to an enclosed space. I had to drop down a little bit here. Alright, there we go, that's better. Not super tight, but got to know what you're doing. I think I turned the light on, yeah. This was a pretty big boat. I don't know. I did look it up. I should have done that before I jumped on the commentary, just so I had a few more facts about it, some information. Whoop, watch out. I did remember to change my camera back to water mode here, so this should all be 1080p. I think it looks less grainy. There's a barracuda. Maybe that's in my mind. I don't know. But yeah, the 4K underwater just really isn't great for the GoPro, in my opinion. Oh, I'm good, Lara. Thanks for asking. Yeah, she started asking for air. I, a few times, just thought about giving her an okay sign. Yeah, at this point, I think I was still showing PSI to her. I'm sure she was extremely confused. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know what my dive buddy there did in terms of the battery. Maybe she changed it out. I didn't see her change it out in between dives, but it could have happened. Yeah, we actually, well, that's true. It probably most certainly did happen. So I had all the batteries on the boat. I really didn't need to do that. We actually went back to shore in between dives here. I've never been on a dive trip like that, and they said they were going to do that. What is she? Oh, that signal means eel. That mouth Pac-Man signal with her hand. That's for eel, so she found an eel here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, see, she likes to hang loose too. I do remember seeing an eel here, I think, so where is it? Maybe I missed this one. I definitely saw multiple eels. I cannot remember now if I saw one on this dive or it was the second one. I got pretty close to one of them. She's still showing it. I'm still not seeing an eel. Anybody see an eel? I don't see an eel. Because Tim probably sees an eel. He sees everything. Yeah. we'll finish up with a dive with him. He's like, "Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that?" No, I did not see any of those things. I was staring at the wall, Tim. Maybe I'm just kind of waiting for the crowd to pass here. Ah, there he is. Yeah, that guy needs to get his finger bitten off. He's screwing with it. Yeah, it's kind of a tiny one. Yeah, I don't want to get that close to him. I'm sure Mr. Eel does not like all the attention. Yeah, it's kind of a tiny one. We saw a huge one that lives on this wreck. This is my second dive on this wreck. We saw a really big one, which they've actually named. I'll have to check their website. Manuela, I think. Something along those lines. It was kind of buried in a crevice, but yeah, you could tell it was a monster. They say he's been there, stayed in that same spot, and I guess it's working out well for him. Yeah, this was a big boat. We made it all the way to the propeller, so we went to the stern, right? Yeah, the stern is the back of a boat. The aft section, at least. Pretty sure that's the back. I know the bow is the front, yeah, so the stern has got to be the back. Yeah, this was a serious boat. I don't know how big it was. Like I said, I should have looked it up, but okay, we are 48 feet deep. I have 37 minutes of airtime left, and I did not catch the PSI. Now, my bro had a good idea, actually. So my dive computer does, you know, you can pick the units on your dive computer, imperial or metric. And maybe for European dives, I should switch it over to metric. The problem with that is it's going to give me depth in meters, and I'd rather have depth in feet. I'm pretty sure I can't control, you know, depth in feet and air pressure in bars. But I do have a backup steam gauge that'll tell me feet. You know, it's got a depth gauge on it. So I wouldn't get a super exact reading, but yeah, maybe I should do that. That might be a thing to think about. Just so I'm not trying to do this pressure translation and I can give bars. Yellow sauce coming at you. I can give exact bars. Yeah, this is a huge wall. I remember looking up at this and being like, wow, this was a big boat. Lots of fish swimming around it. Yeah, this dive is awesome. I'd probably put this in top 5 dive of all time for me. Certainly in recent memory. I like this better than the Portuguese mainland dives from last summer. Yeah, I was looking out to blue water there, hoping to find something. Didn't see it. Yeah, that's a big propeller. I think it's a little beat up. Take it to the shop. They'll fix it right up for you. Yeah, I guess the other blade, the third blade, is either completely buried in the sand or snapped off somewhere. Looks like it's almost attached, maybe still attached to his drive shaft. I don't know. Yeah, I really got it. I'll tell you what. Before I do commentary on this wreck again for my second dive, I will look up some facts about this boat and be better equipped to tell you about it. That was pretty cool. Swimming right over the prop. Yeah, I have no idea what powered it. Well, probably coal. Yep. Laura's shaking her sound thing. Yep, that's Ray symbol. She flaps her arms, that's the Ray symbol. Yeah, we saw a Ray here twice, actually. I think it might have been the same one twice. It looked very similar anyway. Yep, there he is. Swimming right over it. Look down, idiot. Hold on. The video on. Yeah, there he is. All right. 14 and 20, so I got a little ways to go. Yeah, good find. He's buried pretty good. That is a... Oh, man, I looked at their chart. It's a stingray. It's a common circle stingray, something like that. Yeah, they got charts of all the wildlife back on the shore. And somebody got too close to it. Maybe me. He's like, yep, had enough of this. Goodbye. I just love watching them swim. Slow motion flying. That was a thrill. And at this point, I think they're sending divers off. Yeah, she's checking air. Maybe, or is that coming up? I'm not sure what she's pointing out. That's another dive. That's another dive guide she's talking to there. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of sign language under there that I don't recognize. Alright, she's telling me... Oh, I think I was telling her I got half a tank left. Yeah. So that timeout signal, that's what you use for half a tank. So that was easy to communicate. 1500 PSI, like, yeah, half a tank. The rest of these people are given their pressure, remaining pressure in bars. And those who were running low, she's sent off with pink fins, I think. And, which is cool, so I got to stay down a little longer. Because, you know, I'm good at conserving air like that. Except Hawaii. Not good in Hawaii. Yeah, I don't think I finished that thought. Yeah, I was doing a dive in Hawaii, and, you know, I thought I'm pretty good at saving air, but, nope, I had to, they called the dive on account of me. I was running low, and we had to go up. You don't want to be that guy. It's... Like me personally, I don't care at all, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. If somebody's running low on air and I gotta go up, that's perfectly fine, but I can understand how that could rub some people the wrong way. Especially if they're paying a lot of money for a dive and this tourist is like, alright, we gotta go. I'm pretty sure the people I was diving there with were locals. It seemed like it anyway, or people who'd been diving for a very long time. Oh yeah, so I think this was another instructor, and yeah, he cramped up. And I was like, man, do I need to go help this guy? And then he kind of fixed it, so I don't know. And I guess I popped up from here way too quickly because this is where all my scent warnings were. I do not remember my computer screaming at me, but it most certainly was. Yeah, we're doing... She might be telling me to slow down a little bit there. Maybe she can tell I'm coming up too fast. But this is... Yeah, we're... There it is. I can hear it screaming at me now. Trying to get up to safety stop range. A little too quickly, but... That's going to do it for this dive. Coming up next, we got awesome rock formations. Stick around, you're going to want to see them.